Hey guys, it's me, Meteor. To celebrate 10 years of Kirby Canon, today we're going to be talking about Kirby. To begin, let's start with one of the biggest points of discussion around this guy. What is Kirby? I touched on a common theory about this in my Void Termina video, but a bit of understanding has changed since then. So let me start by clarifying things a bit first. We'll begin with Void Soul's description. The localized version states Void can change based on whether negative or positive energy is gathered. However, the Japanese description wasn't binary about this, simply stating it could turn into several different things based on what energy is gathered, but doesn't specifically separate it into two categories. This would suggest that if Void, Kirby, Dark Matter, or any other orbs were related, it wouldn't just be Dark Matter or Kirby. It could be, well, anything. They could probably fill an entire alignment chart. Of course, there's also the whole 4 matters thing, which seems to separate matter into 4 groups. And unlike what was originally thought, the way those categories are pronounced does seem to suggest they're legitimate categories, not just matter as a substance. But does that mean those are the 4 categories they can form into, or are those the 4 categories they can form from? This Void Soul description states it formed from dark matter. So does this mean it will never be able to form into something exactly like Kirby? Possibly, though considering that Kirby has a heart that's a star, is referred to as Kirby of the Stars, Void being referred to as Astral Birth, and Dark Nebula being a literal star, to say there's no relation at all between the two seems unlikely to me as well. However, some may also refer to the July 2018 Nintendo Dream interview about Star Allies regarding this. It states that Void only looked like Kirby because it saw him for the first time and started to resemble him. I've seen some say this absolutely disproves any connection at all. While it can certainly be interpreted that way, it still doesn't completely debunk it. Think about it. If we had an early newborn baby that mimicked the face of our friend, sure, that wouldn't make them directly related, but we wouldn't just assume the baby isn't human, would we? Overall, there's no real 100% conclusive evidence to truly say that Kirby is or isn't related to Void. There never originally was either. Understandably, there are many differing opinions on this matter. Therefore, we should be respectful of others no matter what their viewpoint is. After all, even if Kumazaki is trying to imply that Dark Matter, Void, and Kirby are all related species, that likely wasn't the original vision Sakurai had of the character. I mean, Sakurai wasn't even the one who created Dark Matter. That was Shimomura, who likely also had a different vision of the character. If the directors did have different visions for Kirby, it would only make sense that the fans could have different ones too, even more so. In fact, they would likely encourage that. Know what we do know Kirby is though? Adorable, and that's all that matters. Kirby is also quite young. How young? Well, in the anime he's portrayed as more of a toddler. However, in the games, he's portrayed more as a young boy. In fact, the Japanese website even refers to him as a young person. This is shown in his demeanor from the games as well. He is very carefree in nature, loves making friends, eating, and helping others. Kirby clearly has no issues enjoying the simple things in life. In fact, this has been true ever since he flew into Dreamland during a spring breeze, which is likely referring to the original game. This, oddly enough, could also be Kirby's biggest weakness. Not only can Kirby be a bit too eager to help, but he is also very naive. I mean, he inadvertently helped a villain to harness the power of ancient artifacts twice. Sure, there are other examples too, such as when he tried to bring Dreams back to Dreamland, or tried to bring a giant, mountain-slicing bird to her senses. But even then, his heart was always in the right place. When his actions do lead to unfortunate consequences, he selflessly goes out of his way to fix whatever issue was caused. Granted, most of the time that simply involves defeating whatever new threat inadvertently spawned. In the case of Dynablade though, he took time out of his own schedule to help raise her chicks while she recovered. That was probably a good amount of time too, considering he even taught them to fly. Dynablade even paid back this great act of selflessness by helping Kirby board the halberd to stop Meta Knight. In fact, the only real game that seems like an exception to Kirby's kindness is Squeak Squad. Kirby's hardly the only one to blame for that though. No one in that game explained anything to anyone. Also, considering DDD was the only one who ever stole food before, reformed or not, Kirby's reasoning wasn't completely baseless. After all, he did end up stealing food again in Star Allies. Sure, he was corrupted at that time, but Kirby didn't know beforehand. Overall though, his track record is pretty solid. In fact, it is probably his most incredible quality. Many people just tend to focus on how powerful Kirby is, and let's face it, he is. Just look at what kind of villains he's taken down. However, I don't think that should be our focus on him as a character. Rather, we should focus on how well Kirby treats others and how, above all else, Kirby just wants to make friends and treat them with kindness. Now, there will of course be times when attempting to show kindness could inadvertently cause someone harm. This is true for all of us, not just Kirby. Kirby could have easily reasoned that he shouldn't bother helping anymore, as his actions have only brought others pain. However, if Kirby let that kind of thinking take over, Popstar would literally be engulfed in darkness. Seriously, Dreamland 3's whole premise was helping others in each stage to rid the world of dark matter. So much so that the Love Stick, the weapon used to thwart Zero, was only created by absorbing and using the power of love others expressed by doing so. Then there are other partners Kirby never had met previously who did help him. Ribbon to take down Zero 2, Elflin and the Starries to take down Elfless, plural, and of course Align to take down Darkcrafter and gain another friend. Furthermore, Kirby doesn't even hold back kindness from those that hurt him previously, maybe even becoming their friend. Thanks to Kirby, Magolor is now happier than he could ever be with the theme park of his dreams. DeRoach is now sailing through the universe in search of treasure, even making light of previous events. DDD is now just a friendly rival who even missed him in Forgotten Land. And Meta Knight, well, I'm not sure he had any hostility toward Kirby to begin with. Regardless, even during the events of Heroes in Another Dimension, when the Mage Sisters were still ungrateful toward Kirby, even after he freed them from Void Termina, to the point of attacking him, he still took the time to show them love and give them a life where they can truly be happy. Speaking of Void, even that guy looks happy now thanks to Kirby's influence. Really, when it comes to Kirby's kindness and ability to make friends, it is nothing short of a superpower. And while we may never be able to reach his levels of kindness, maybe we all can learn something from the little guy. Anyway, we've discussed just about everything we can about the titular character, so I guess I'll see you guys, well, the next time we see him. See you then.